Hi, I'm Margo Sorum, and I'm so excited about today's sequence. It was inspired by Russell and Linda Delman, who are amazing Feldenkrais practitioners. And when I myself first took this class, it just blew my mind. It is so brain expanding because we're going to use our imagination, and it's going to literally change the way that we move and the way that we think. And it's going to make changes deep in the nervous system. So come up to standing and join me. And we're going to do our little marker pose, and you're going to walk. So go ahead and walk around your space and just get a sense of the texture of the floor and the points of contact with your feet. Notice how you're breathing. Notice how the legs, hips, how this translates through your whole body. And then come to standing still. And then start to have the image of earth surfing, so that you're actually moving on this earth that is moving and spinning around the sun and in this solar system. And let that kind of change your relationship a little bit with how you're standing. And then we're going to take this a step further, and we're going to imagine the earth beneath you actually being an elephant's back. This living creature beneath you. And this creature is breathing and moving. And you can imagine your elephant being huge, 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 so it supports you. It's as big as your whole room. And then walk again. And just notice if you kind of try to balance a little more on your elephant. You maybe need to use your toes a little bit more to grip into your elephant's back a little bit. And maybe your arms are just a little different because, again, you're balancing. And you also want this to feel good. You want this to feel good on your elephant's back. It's kind of like your feet are being massaged by your elephant's skin, and that your body weight is massaging the elephant beneath you. Okay, let's take this imagery down to the floor and lie down on your elephant's back. Closing your eyes if that's comfortable, and get a sense of those points of contact of your body with your elephant. Your heels, the calves, hips, back of the ribs, shoulder blades, arms, skull. And have the image that your elephant is in fact walking. And remember, the elephant is huge and has this trunk that's capable of removing obstacles in its path. So you're in this safe space. Literally, your elephant has your back, and they're taking you on this journey. Good. And before you move, just kind of get a sense of being balanced on your elephant, and that you're going to have to shift your weight in order to bend your knee and place a foot on your elephant back. Bend your other knee and place your foot on your elephant's back. And just settle back in. And then nice and slow but deliberate, lift one foot up and off your elephant's back so it's hovered off their back, and then place it back down and press and feel your back imprint into your elephant's back. And then notice as you lift that same foot up off the floor, and set it down deliberately, but maybe in a slightly different spot. And you're going to repeat this several times, where you're just being very deliberate about lifting your foot, setting it down in a new spot, and pressing and imprinting your back. When the foot comes up, you might feel the pelvis rock forward. When you place the foot down, you'll feel the pelvis rock back. And you're just organically getting very curious about just the shift and balance, and giving yourself this little massage. Good, and rest. And let's do that with the other foot. So your other foot comes up off the floor, and then you press down. And you might even just notice what's the first part of your foot to lift off, what's the first part to step down, and really imprint and lean and press. And maybe even notice that there's a movement that happens all the way up the spine. Notice if your head or skull is moving up and down your elephant a little bit as well. You're getting attuned with your elephant and with your own nervous system. And then release and let both legs go back long. Notice if there's a big swelling breath that naturally wants to occur. Good. Bend one knee, place just one foot on the floor. The other leg is going to stay long. Lean into the foot against the floor, and notice as you do so, it tips you a little bit over to your lengthened leg side and that pelvis. And then you're just going to slowly let all of that come back down. Press into your foot. Think about lengthening and leaning through your thigh, opening up the front of the hips, and then letting the spine unwind as it comes back down. So do notice a little bit of a spiral that's happening, a little twist that's happening. And notice if it travels up your spine and maybe even affects your head. So just notice if your head wants to turn. Maybe your head wants to turn the other way. And this is all about exploration, so just explore. Maybe your arms need to be in a slightly different place for your balance. Good. And then rest. Lengthen all the way out. Notice if the two sides feel a little different just after that one simple asymmetric movement. Choose the same leg. So bend that same knee, place that foot on your elephant's back. Press into your foot the same way. Let it lean your hip off the floor, but then keep pressing and leaning. And maybe bend your elbow and let the hand and arm roll over and across. And your head will turn too. And then let your hands slide back down and across your chest as the pelvis shifts back and you rest on your elephant. And then you do the origin of movement with your foot and let it have a rebound all the way through the spine and the arm. Everything is just a reaction to the pressure you put in the foot. And then that weight you're putting into the side body as you roll. Maybe if that feels good on your shoulder, you would like to try keeping your fingertips on the floor and making a half circle around the top. And same on the way back. This really is about pleasurable movement. So do less if this hurts in any way. And just make it more subtle, whatever feels good. And just for a little bit of fun, this time when you come over, maybe let that foot come off the floor and let it hang. And you can just kind of practice this sense of balance. Maybe even find a way to balance your other arm on top, and maybe the leg has to counterbalance. And again, just side surf your elephant. And then let those toes go down and lengthen the leg out and rest on your elephant. Other side. Bend a knee, foot to the floor. This is your other side now. Press into that foot, lengthen through the thigh, and let yourself get a little bit of a turn. And again, just this little movement, feel the pressure changing. Feel the movement shifting. There's a rotation happening in the pelvis and up through the spine, even into the neck and shoulder. Do less. Again, we don't want to be forceful in the foot. This is, again, a living being you're pressing against, so make sure it feels good. Maybe your head turns. And rest. And of course, if you're doing this at another time, you can take your pauses when you want them. Be on your own time clock. Bend your knee, soles, foot to the floor. Lean into the foot and let it turn you and tip you. Bend your elbow, let the hand come to the chest and slide across the arm. Hand slides back over and down. And again, continue to explore how just pressing into your foot creates this chain reaction. If your head hangs really far back in extension, you might want to work with a blanket as you do this sequence. So if it does feel uncomfortable or your head is pulled off the floor, then do prop yourself. Arm could go around in a whole half moon. When you're ready, maybe there's time for a little of side surf. Notice how you press into your elephant with your bottom leg, side body. The arm leveraging in different positions will change maybe how you move and position your leg. You could work with the head on the floor or off the floor. And slide it back down and rest. Breathe. Feel the points of contact. Imagine the sun shining down upon you, blue skies, and your elephant's walking you through on the savannah. Maybe it's nighttime and you're looking up at the stars, but just envision your own environmental experience with your imagination. Bend both knees. Slide your hands behind the opening in your neck. The hands interlace behind your head, behind your eyes. Elbows to the ceiling. You're going to use your elbows and they're going to lean towards your thighs to pick your head up. Slowly, slowly, with really good contact, feel each vertebra descend back to your elephant's back and head touches back. And when you come up, really feel the imprint. It's almost like your elephant has this beautiful tattoo that you want to have transferred onto your back, like henna. And so we want to make sure that your henna gets as dark as possible by leaning and pressing really distinctly. Coming up and leaning a little to one side, get more of your back in contact with your elephant and really make sure your tattoo is transferred well. Lean and scroll the other way. Again, repeat a few times just to get as much contact with your elephant's back as possible. Feels so good. And rest. Bend your knees, soles of feet to the floor. Press into both feet and feel your low back imprint to the floor. If there's a blanket behind your head, this is the time to take it out. So that as you roll up and lift the hips higher, 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 really stand on the nape of your neck and on the shoulder blades and those places you just rollered your back. And then lower down one vertebra at a time. And again, focus on that tattoo transfer, that henna art going onto your back and spine. Arrange your feet where you need to get up and get the height and the contact that you want. Lean. And this time as you descend down, you're going to, again, slide your hands underneath your neck and behind your head and make your net, your basket for your head. You're going to lift the hips up, stand up on the shoulder blades, and as you start the descent, let that elbow start to lean up towards your thighs as you imprint the low back down. And then as the head starts to descend down, start to lift your hips up one vertebra at a time. Oh, and feel the delicious pressure you can access. And as you play with this a little bit, again, you could start to lean a little bit to one side or the other. Make this really pleasurable for yourself and for your elephant. Good. And when you're ready, release. Enjoy these points of contact with your elephant. Again, have the sense of your elephant breathing and walking and moving beneath you and feeling that elephant skin. Lean yourself up to sitting. And just get curious as you sit, tip to the front of your sit bones. Again, feel balanced on your elephant and regal. Just as if you were riding this magnificent being. Elephants are associated with wealth and prosperity in a kingdom. Feel the aliveness in your back, this relationship that you've made with this living being. Bring your palms together in Anjali Mudra. Breathing in a sense of thanks and gratitude for this experience. And after this class, when you get up and continue to move, continue to keep some of that awareness as your feet continue to walk upon this elephant's back and enjoy the beauty and the grace of your movements. Thanks for practicing.